or construction workers, mechanics, literally anything you can think of, and it's happening every day. And the only difference between a musician that's famous and that other kid is that we don't talk about him on the radio.
Life is so weird.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there are like periods of time where I feel like I've got it, like all my stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, and then there are periods of time where I'm just like, I am such a failure at everything.
What's your emergency?
Hi there. I'm working. I'm a driver, and
okay.
I just got to the location, and his housekeeper came out and said that he unfortunately killed himself.
Okay, so the person came out and said somebody is in fact killed himself?
I haven't seen him. I'm sitting in the car. His housekeeper came up to me and said that she found him dead.
Okay, stay on the phone, okay? Is she able to talk to see if there's any kind of breathing or anything like that?
Yeah, I asked. I said, is he cold? Is he warm? And she said, no, he's dead. He's been hanging, and she's talking to his wife right now.
Okay, stay on the phone. I'm going to transfer you to the fire department. Stay on the line, okay?
Thank you.
PV 7 Lincoln 11, 7 Lincoln 12.
County Fire 83.
Hey, it's Stevie with the transfer, sir. Go ahead and talk to her, okay?
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I just got on location. I'm a driver. Was trying to pick up, and his housekeeper came out and said that he unfortunately killed himself. He hung himself. He's in his room.
Okay, what's the address where you're at? Are you at a home or an apartment?
It's a home.
And what city are you in?
Palos Verdes Estates.
Okay, and do you know the closest cross street there on the corner?
I don't, to be honest.
That's okay. What's your phone number, area code?
Okay.
And how old is he?
Mid-40s.
Mid-40s? Okay.
Yeah.
And he's hung himself in the room?
So that's what his housekeeper said. I haven't been in the house. I haven't seen him.
Is that the housekeeper I can hear behind you?
Yeah.
Okay. So
She's talking to his wife.
you haven't been inside at all?
No, not at all.
Okay. Just have everybody wait outside of the room, and paramedics and the PD will be there shortly, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Be nice.
You don't believe that sinister hands were involved in his death?
No.
Not at
Well,
all.
there were no. I mean, there was a police report done and everything. So no.
Alright, y'all, now for this part of the video, I wanted to come in and kind of sum up those last clips that I was just showing. To give my thoughts about the 911 call, right? Because I've done multiple videos where I felt like the 911, the 911 call was basically like ingenuine. It didn't sound like it was real. It sounded like it was kind of like a rehearsed call, or it just sounded, fake. It didn't sound real. There was no emotion in the call. And I've done this, like I said, in multiple videos where I felt that way when we get these, when we get this stage show, basically, from Hollywood, from the industry, because we can't believe everything that we're giving. You already know we do not believe the narrative, Plenty other people actually feel like that call was fake. They actually feel like Mike Shinada, he was the one that made the call. That's why I put in the video, obviously we don't have direct proof that it was him. From my research, I saw that a lot of people actually do believe it was him, believe that the voices are really similar. And then you get a lot of naysayers that believe that it's not him at all. So, obviously there's no there's no real proof that it was him that made the call, but I can definitely, I can firmly say that call was staged and it was fake. You could even hear wind blowing in the background of the call, which if he was inside of his car, you wouldn't really catch too much wind coming through the phone. Like you would have to be driving, or, a lot of wind would have to be coming through the car, somehow. But if you're just sitting there, more than likely, wind is not going to come through that hard to where you can hear it in the phone call. Now, also in that part, he mentioned that the maid who found him, she was actually talking to the wife of Chester. He was talking, she was talking to the wife. Now, a lot of people believe that is how that they proved the 911 call was fake, because the wife was actually out of town the day that he was found dead. Now, then you get the flip side of that, where people say, no, the maid was actually on the phone with the wife, that the wife was not actually in the house. So there wasn't a discrepancy. Like, he wasn't lying. He wasn't saying that the wife was in the house. He was just saying that the maid was actually talking to the wife on the phone. So if you think about it, it could go both ways. Honestly, we were never there. We would never know. But that could also be a slip up, and that could be proof that the 911 call was fake, because then that means the story doesn't match. The wife said that she was out of town. He said the maid was actually talking to the wife. Now, that brought me to the point that I put in text as, why did the driver who literally pulled up to the house, how did he know to make the call? Why did he make the call? Why is the maid so hysterical that she couldn't call 911? This driver just so happens to be about to come to the house and maybe pick him up. He just so happens to be coming at that time. And he's the one to make the call to 911, not the person that found him. So I found that to be very suspicious, you know. Found that to really be a lot of proof that the call was fake. And not to mention, you know, Chris's scene, you know, it just looks, it looks staged, you know. First off, and don't let me, don't let me be like, insensitive to people who actually commit suicide for real. Don't get me wrong, because it does actually happen in real life. So this is to not dismiss the ones that are truly depressed and the people that really commit suicide because they just can't handle it. Don't get it wrong, it happens, but you have to understand. What two grown men commit suicide that were best friends 2 months apart from each other, and one of them actually decides to commit suicide on the one that it's already dead on his birthday? Ask yourself this question. When does a scenario like that actually happen in real life? Think about it. When does that actually happen in real life? It does not happen in real life. You will never hear a story of two best friends who decided to commit suicide 2 months apart as if they planned it that way, and one of them is going to decide to do it on the other one's birthday after he's already gone. That does not happen. That sounds like Hollywood. That sounds like a sacrifice. That sounds like a story, a narrative that they want to give you to pull your heartstrings. You don't know how many comments I saw of people, feeling so bad, just depression, suicide is this, he was crying out for help, and all of this just gullible, just ill kind of comments, just like, ew, how could you be so gullible? How could you go for the narrative? How could you be such a bot? Ew. Literally, it disgusts me, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I said, don't get me wrong about, being insensitive about real suicides. But, because I'm not trying to be, I'm just trying to make you see that these are not regular people. They did not commit suicide. They're pulling on your heartstrings when they give it to you this way, because they know how the regular human, how the bot human, the sheep human, they know how you're going to react. And they know they're going to pull your energy right up out of you, right up out your chest. And that's just the way it is. No, I'm sorry. He did not hang himself from a piece of exercise rope, elastic bands. No, he did not hang himself from that. Why is there blood splatter on the wall? There's so many questions that go around that scene that are left to be unanswered. So, before I continue to go on, I don't want to do my entire wrap up of this video yet. We still got a lot to cover. So check out these next clips, and I'll be back.
The best one, the Enron whistleblower who shot himself in the head
What happened?
twice. Shot himself in the head
Exactly.
twice.
They do that on purpose. That's an obvious sign. If you were a detective, would you enter a case like that, go, listen, someone got suicided, but it looks fishy? Would you say, nah, it's a suicide. Don't disrespect the family. Just keep it a suicide. They told us it was. No, you would want to know what the fuck really happened. Like if one of your relatives died or whatever, and they said she committed suicide, and you were like, fuck. But then someone you know that knows him said, it wasn't suicide, bro. Wouldn't you want to know the details? Or would you say, it was a suicide, that's what the cops said, you know what, we should have respect for their soul and their family? Would you say that, or would you say, tell me what the fuck happened? What do you know? Right?
Yeah.
Right? That's
Right.
natural. If it's your family, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
So when it comes to stuff like, you look at Chris Cornell, him and his wife had a foundation, him and Chester were best friends. The conspiracy theory, I don't know if it's true, but they found out some shit. They found out some shit.
Let's be respectful.
No.
Like we don't know.
I don't know.
We can't
I'm not
talk
naming
about
any
this.
names.
Okay,
but you got to look into it. It's,
okay. But this guy just died, man. I just don't think this is shit to speculate on.
That's why you should speculate it when you find out the connection and the way they died. They made it. Chris Cornell had 9 broken ribs and a gash in the back of his head when he hung him. Yes, and they said the official story is from the CPR. The CPR, he was already dead when they got there, and they break 9 ribs doing CPR, and there's a gash behind his head.
The gash behind his head when they cut him loose, and he bangs his head off the ground.
And he's hanging off like one of those exercise rubber bands.
So you think someone killed him?
When you look at the evidence, you're like, holy shit, he looked like he was murdered. And then Chester, right before, Chester dies the same way, the exact same way.
Dude, let's not do this, man.
No.
I don't want to even do this. I don't even want to do this.
Okay, all right. Okay. I'm just looking into it because I love Chester. I love Chester. I love Lincoln Park. Who got you into Lincoln Park? I got you into Lincoln Park.
I understand. I don't want to talk about conspiracy theories involved in this guy's death, especially when he just died. It just seems so disrespectful.
No, he's one of my favorite singers of all time.
I understand, but if he really did just kill himself, like, it seems so disrespectful to speculate that he was murdered because of some conspiracy theory. I don't know what the case is, but I don't even want to talk about it.
All right, all right.
But do you know what I'm saying?
You know what? I said enough. I don't need to say no more. I don't want to get into trouble, but I'm just...
Okay.
I'm not trying to put anybody in jail. I love Lincoln Park. I love Chester. I love Chris Cornell. Are you kidding?
I understand
Soundgarden?
I understand. I understand. But I just feel like you should really know what the fuck you're talking about when you talk about people.
We were just talking about suicides. We were just talking about how people get suicided. We were just talking about the Haiti thing.
That's what that is,
we were just when you look at what they were into that. They were into fighting that.
Okay.
And when you look at exactly how,
also severely depressed. There was also a lot of psychological shit going on.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know why people kill themselves, period. You know? I don't know why.
But wouldn't you want to know if there was some serious, there was some fishy shit?
Maybe I'll look into it.
There's some
fishy
fishy shit.
Talk about it until whatever the fuck reality has been.
That's not that. We were talking about trillions being missing. We're talking about all these crazy suicides. We're talking about all that, and then this is insane. This goes right with whatever we're talking about. This is when you should bring it up. Not later when everyone forgets about it.
I don't know any facts.
Yeah.
So when you're bringing it up like this, it sounds crazy. Okay.
What? Hello? My name is Paul. What is your name? Jamie. Hi.
My name's Paul Myhill. Ever since I was a young man, I've been a world traveler. As a kid, I was a fast tracker, plunged headfirst into entrepreneurial ventures. With all the success, I was losing a sense of significance, my place in the world. My first real taste of suffering children came on a visit to Uganda in the 90s. A little girl named Peace, 2 years old, as fragile as balsa wood, was suffering from malaria, had lost her parents to AIDS. My wife and I took turns holding this little girl, wiping her brow, only to learn a couple of weeks later after returning to the United States that she didn't make it. And that little girl has left a lasting impression upon me. A person like Little Peace should not have to die simply because she is born in the wrong quadrant of this globe, while we sit idly by chasing our toys, much like I used to do. There's a fair amount of places around the world where we put ourselves in a fair amount of risk. But our compassion for the children and asking the question, well, if not me, who? Who is going to stand in the gap and reach out to be an aid for these children? We're in Chisinau, Moldova right now, the 10th poorest nation in the world and certainly the most impoverished nation in all of Europe. For most people in the United States have never even heard of it. Moldova, known as the trafficking hub of this part of the world, population of a little over 4 million, and by some statistics, 400,000 of its people have been trafficked out.
This is the area where one of the head guys involved in human trafficking lives here, and nobody, police doesn't come this place. Okay. Just be careful. The cameras are on both sides of the house, and they see us. Be careful. Those guys are watching. It's a very known criminal area. If you come with a car and you're trying to run away from here, this is the only way. No way to get out of here. If you know so much, these guys would love, or they want to kill you. Yeah. Because you know the names, you know a lot of stuff. Yeah. That's why I call these girls that are really released from human trafficking. They are like submarines. They go deep and they don't say anybody anything if they want to stay alive.
Those guys are living close to this railroad and are having girls transported
from this area. Connects Moldova to Romania, to Ukraine, and to the port in Ukraine on Odessa.
We're standing in one of Istanbul's port areas. Girls from Ukraine, Romania, Moldova, Transnistria are shipped to Turkey into the sex trade here, either as a destination point or as a transit point. The girls are actually put onto containers, and if you can imagine having a 32-hour plus ride in a container to then be let out and to then suffer the exploitation that occurs afterwards. The Turkish mafia basically rented a whole hotel, took these girls to this hotel, impregnated them, and the babies were then taken to have their organs harvested. Can you imagine the depth of depravity that it takes to take a poor child in an orphanage who's already lost their parents or already been abandoned, to then take them to a place of being raped, to then see that same child bear a child and maybe finally feeling like, gosh, I've accomplished something. Here's offspring, of my womb, to only then have that child ripped away to be harvested. And you've got rich people and the Emirates and Turkey and other countries of affluence, and they've got a dying child. They don't care about the child in a poor developing world. All they care about is they want to save the life of their child. They don't care how that heart, how that liver, how that kidney comes. All they care about is their child. And there's men who are willing to facilitate that. It's warped. No one is immune. Women, children, boys, Southeast Asia, Indian subcontinent, Latin America, Eastern Europe. There is nobody that is immune and out of the grip of this evil. We're in Pattaya, Thailand, an area known for the sex tourism industry. A lot of people come here actually on an official sex tour. You can see one of the tour buses. Now he's got his hand on bare skin. It doesn't get more open than this. Hold on, this guy in the suspenders. Yeah. As we've walked this street here, it feels like a carnival atmosphere. What can only be described as a modern day Sodom and Gomorrah. Oh yeah. She was young. She was young. It's 5 a.m. in Patpong, one of Bangkok's prostitution districts. This bar beside me here has a rather offensive name, but the truth is that everything that goes on this street and many like it in Bangkok is truly offensive. There's 50 girls at 6 in the morning?
Yes, sir. But now happy hour. Happy hour, the first room. No photo, no photo.
Well, don't have the door open then. One of the things that really gets to me personally is a lot of these girls have numbers pinned to their chest, where a client would then pick out a girl by a number. They don't have a name, they don't have a history, they don't have a family. They're simply a number. They're a piece of meat to be put on display and chosen for butchering. It's a little after 7 in the morning, and the girls are still working out on the streets. It's a little early to be working this morning, isn't it?
Yeah, because in the nighttime the police is catching.
In the nighttime, the police are snatching the girls?
Touching.
Oh, touching. They abuse the girls. So you like to work the daytime to avoid the police? Just across the border in northern Thailand, actually in Burma, and the sign behind me pretty much says it all. An exhortation to not sell your children, to not see your children be placed into domestic servitude, to beat and abuse them, and to also see them in a situation of child prostitution or sexual slavery. Imagine being sold into slavery for $10.
ไม่มีความสุขค่ะพ่อแม่ก็ต่างคนต่างแยกกันอยู่
My mother sold me for about 300 baht back behind the house, about $10.
The scars run deep, and it takes a loving home to be able to help mend some of those wounds. In a lot of these countries we work in, these kids graduate or age out of these institutional orphanages, often corrupt institutional orphanages, where even the directors will call the traffickers and let them know when certain kids are being released.
Hey, what's going on with y'all, man? It's Black Balloon, coming back for a second time in this video, so y'all already know what's going on, man. Look, that was a Chester Bennington and Chris Cornell sacrifice, man. Soundgarden, Linkin Park, as all of you are aware of. And I hope y'all enjoyed that video as much as I enjoyed making that video and just going down the rabbit hole, because I tell you what, we all thought, their suicides were fishy, when we first heard it a few years ago. To be honest, I never really went down that rabbit hole at that time. Obviously I wasn't like an avid listener of Linkin Park. And definitely not Soundgarden. I'm not going to act like I was, a fan or I knew any much of their music. Definitely not really Chris Cornell. I knew a lot more Linkin Park, obviously. I think, if you're involved in music, you definitely know some Linkin Park songs, at least one or two, you know what I'm saying? So, just to put that out there, not going to act like I was just the biggest fans of these guys, but doing the video, it sucked me in completely. Like I was super interested in the stuff that I was finding out, all the research I was doing, just connecting the dots from, just from the occult being behind their sacrifices and, the things that they may have been trying to expose, with child sex trafficking and just trafficking in general, and pedophilia. There were a few things just digging up all this stuff that was just like, it was just going off, just raising flags in my head, because obviously, we've talked about a lot of these things on the channel before. We got multiple videos talking about sex trafficking and child sex trafficking. We have multiple videos talking about that. So I had no idea that Chester and Chris, they were, involved in actually trying to bring this stuff to light. Now, I didn't find any just, downright proof that these guys were behind the documentary or that they were helping to expose it. I don't think there's anything out there that just firmly pits them behind the documentary, like even to the smallest degree, even if it was adding music or whatever they had in, as far as helping the documentary come to life. Obviously, it never really came to life. It got shelved after Chris Cornell died. And that's kind of like the story that we get. So, if y'all know more about that story, rather they actually had a real hand in the documentary, be sure to let me know in the comments. Because like I said, as far as that goes, we can only kind of speculate, because there's the rumor that John Podesta is actually Chester Bennington's father, because obviously they look just alike. They look like twins, down to every single feature of their face, literally like a spitting image of each other. So a lot of people actually think that John Podesta is actually Chester Bennington's father, and they even go as far as saying that he is the one that abused him as a child. Now, I'm not saying that's true. Obviously that is all speculation. We can't just completely prove that right now. So I left it to that point. I thought we definitely had to put that part in the video, because that could have, very well been a reason for their sacrifice. Could have very well been a reason why they were murdered. It's not completely proven, definitely not, but it could very well be the reason why things went the way that it did, why they gave us the narrative of suicide and depression, which is very common in the industry. And we all are aware of that, so it was definitely very important to add that into the video, man. And, like I said, just doing the video, it was deep. It was deep. I just feel like the rabbit hole of Chester Bennington and Chris Cornell is deep. I don't think we'll ever really truly know the truth, because we're not meant to. And I say that all the time. These are Freemasons who are behind this. These are occultists who are behind this. These are basically the disciples of Satan, the disciples of Lucifer, who are behind these kind of ritual sacrifices. So the truth is so far down the rabbit hole, you actually never get there. You're just able to go down that rabbit hole, find a few things, piece it together, and come up with a conclusion that will make you feel, like I always say, comfortable with, like, this is my truth. It's like, okay, I definitely know they didn't commit suicide. I may not know the exact reason why they died and how they died, but at least I know it's not the narrative that they're giving us. You see what I'm saying? So we can definitely say, yes, they were definitely sacrificed. They were definitely sacrificed. I wouldn't even dare to believe anything else. You know what I'm saying? Could this have been a situation where they faked their deaths? It could very well have been that situation as well. Y'all know when I end these videos, I like to kind of just, kind of just play on both angles, because at the end of the day, like I always tell y'all, man, nobody was there. I was not there. You were not there. We never know. We never know the truth, So I just don't actually do the videos and just tell you exactly, you know, like, oh yeah, they were sacrificed, you know what I'm saying? Or oh yeah, this is what happened, you know, because it's not solidified, you know what I'm saying? So it could have been either way, you know. I'm kind of leaning more that they were actually real sacrifices. I believe that they were both actually groomed to be sacrificed, because if you guys don't know, that is actually that goes on as well. People are actually groomed to be sacrifices at one point in their lives. And you know, maybe we can talk about that and go down that rabbit hole a little bit more in another video. So, you know, without making this too long, you know, and just going on about points throughout the video that's already been shown, you know, I definitely think this video spoke for itself. Like I said, I hope y'all really enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed making it. And yeah, man, that's the Chester Bennington and Chris Cornell sacrifice, man. It's Sacrifice Sunday. We're back. And that's that, man. So, hey, I hope y'all enjoyed y'all weekend. It's Black Balloon. And I'm going to see y'all soon. I'm out.